It's your boy eBay Fight Predictions in the building. I'll be breaking down Islam Makhachev versus Bobby Green. Honestly, I'm weirdly really hyped for this fight. I cannot wait for it. I think it's gonna be a banger. I did do a bit of a breakdown. Obviously, I was planning on doing a fight breakdown. I haven't done that in a long time. Actually, last time I did that was I think Oliveira versus Poirier. So it was the last time I did that, and I was planning on doing that for Islam, and giving you guys a film study, of course. Islam versus Benny, but sadly, I got it done. It was the worst thing in the world. It's like you do all that film, so you record the some of the moments and stuff like that for 5 fights. It's so heartbreaking when you see that the fight was off. So I was waiting. I thought maybe, we're going to get Arman Sarukian or someone, maybe Joe Alvarez, someone like that on the card that could fight Islam. But instead, we ended up getting Bobby Green. So it got me hyped. I'm going to do a 3-fight kind of film study breakdown on this fight. But hope you guys do enjoy it, though. And let's get to it, man. In terms of the story going into this fight, I mean, it's short notice. Bobby Green has somehow, I'm gonna go over this, has somehow gotten the love from MMA Twitter and obviously like MMA fans around the world. But recently, I've seen this like Bobby Green like love out of nowhere. Like I mean, last year he was on a 3-fight win streak. No one was talking about him like this. Then when he knocks out Ali Quinta, and then he beats Nasrat, everyone's like, obviously the Fiziev performance, right? I think that's what really started it. But they're like sucking this dude off, like sorry, but like it's like out of control, man. Y'all know me. I have my issues with Islam, but I'm not insane, y'all. Like I have, like I'm not crazy. But I mean, going into this matchup, I think it's a great fucking fight. I cannot wait for it. But let's break it down though a little bit. In terms of the stats, man. Obviously Islam Makhachev. In terms of the rankings, I actually want to see where he's ranked. I know Bobby's currently unranked. That might change when fight night comes. You already know how the UFC likes changing rankings. Even our boy Thiago Moises got that ranking boost when he fought fucking Islam. That was hilarious. But I felt like it was kind of deserved. He did beat Hernandez. He was on a win streak, so. I mean, getting the number 15 spot might have been like, being nice. But Islam Makhachev sits at number 4. I don't know how I feel about that, but it is what it is. We'll talk about that. And obviously, Bobby Green is currently unranked. In terms of where they, lie in the stats, I mean, Islam comes with a record of 21-1. Fights out of Russia, but he's also fighting out of AK, which is in San Jose. Age 30, height of 5'10", and reach 70.5. Bobby Green, 29-12-1. So you see right there, big experience difference. Has more wins, obviously has more losses, but he's been in there with a lot of guys. Fights at an Inland Empire, California. Age 35, a height of 5'10", and reach 71. So he has a bit of a reach advantage. So nothing really big in terms of the stats, but you guys already know how I break this down. I've been doing it recently. I like it. I basically look at 3 matchups. I look at their most recent bout, and then I look at 2 matchups where they fought a current style that's kind of similar to their opponent that they did well against, and an opponent they did bad against. So for Islam, obviously, he has 1 loss, and it's the Adrian Martinez loss, right? We have to talk about that. Can Bobby Green replicate what happened in there? A straight right left. I said right left. A straight left. A straight right counter cross where he dipped his head out of the center line. That's really what happened. He got out the way, but can Bobby, replicate that? I mean, Bobby has shown he has some power. Obviously, we'll talk about his Ali Quinta fight, but yeah, I just don't know, man. This is really a loss you really can't put a lot of stock into. He caught him with a beautiful strike, but like I say, and some people get mad when you say this, Islam got caught. If I'm being honest here, and I mean Green has pop, but I wouldn't say his knockout power. I would have loved to see him fight like Islam versus Chandler on short notice. That would have been awesome. That really would have told me if Islam's really I feel like Chandler's kind of like that gatekeeper to like the top 5 or whatever currently, but yeah, I mean it was a crazy loss. You know, it was Adrian Martinez, ATT guy. So I mean, ATT got that over, aka so Fuego. If you're hearing that, I hope you're happy about that. But yeah, he caught him beautiful. It was a beautiful shot, and he knocked him the F out, man. Oh, and also I forgot, actually, he actually defended some takedowns before the knockout. Actually, I forgot about that, so I'm gonna add that in there. But yeah, you know, it was very, like, it wasn't even a real takedown attempt, but he you know, he kind of defended it. And yeah, that was one bad fight that Islam kind of dealt with his style. But it is what it is at the end of the day. But a guy I felt like that is kind of similar to Bobby. You know, I obviously, you know, I added him in the fight thing, and maybe some people might disagree. I put Drew Dober in there. Drew Dober has a lot of power, but he's boxing centric. I know a lot of people look at the power, but if you look at the combination punching he throws, he's more technical and he keeps his hands up, but he's more of a striker, and he's actually has a really decent wrestling background. You know, he's a former wrestler. I know Green was a little bit of, I would say, a better wrestler than probably Drew. But both guys, you know, wrestlers that went into striking, in the striking realm when they, you know, made it to MMA. And I mean, that was pure domination, man. He completely, from start to finish, dominated Drew, man. The takedowns were beautiful. The trips were beautiful. And he just looked amazing. He put on a grappling clinic. And that's just something I could see that happened to Bobby, man. It's not that that first initial takedown is bad. It's the second, it's the third, it's the chain wrestling. It's just the continuation of the grappling sequences where you can just see that person have that, like, kind of like 1,000-mile kind of stare in their eyes, where they're like, man, like, I'm in here for a long time. And you just see that out of a lot of Islam's opponents. You know, they all have that kind of just stare where they're looking 1,000 miles ahead, like, man, this is fucking hell, bro. This is hell. And he ended up getting him out of there with a fucking arm triangle, basically, like arm triangle, like just really shoulder pressure when you really think about it. He got him out of there, and he looked really, really amazing. And I was actually really, really impressed by that. But yeah, I mean, obviously we do have to talk about the performance that got Islam, and really, I feel like, sanctioned in the top 5. Obviously, he did beat Thiago Moises, who is a common opponent of Bobby. But the thing is, the Moises, no one really respected Islam when he beat Moises, because Moises, as much, he's a decent fighter. He's not bad. He's a pretty decent fighter. But that's not a real legit win that gets you to the top 5. It doesn't justify a top 5 spot. And he fought Daniel Hooker, my boy Dan Hooker, and I mean, he put on a clinic. As much as I might hate on Islam for this, it pains me to say that he did really good against my boy. I actually predicted Hooker to beat him. I thought Hooker was the guy. It is interesting to see how he did that. I was really impressed. I thought Hooker at 155, you know, has improved his grappling since the Jason Knight fight, and I feel like he put it all on display against Gilbert Burns. So I don't know if that tells me more about Gilbert Burns, or maybe just Hooker had an off night in the grappling sense. But it is what it is. You know, that first initial takedown by Islam, he got it, and then he ended up getting that Kimura, and it was quick. You know, I remember Khabib and DC were telling Islam, you gotta finish this guy, and Islam's in a really weird situation where he's 21-1. He's basically in the top 5 now after a real good push, but that last win was a legit win. It's probably the best win of his career, and now he's gonna fight Beneil Dariush, right? And now that's scrapped, but he's gonna get a title shot. We all know he's gonna get a title shot. He's on, I think, a 10-fight win streak. I think I might be wrong. It might be more than that, but he's on a pretty big win streak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9-fight win streak. Yeah, so 9-fight win streak. If he beats Bobby, it's 10. He's basically gonna fight for the title. And it's a really interesting situation, because what makes this fight so difficult for Islam is the fact that it is short notice. You don't know what to expect. So this is going to be almost like, if we're following the Khabib Nurmagomedov story, this is kind of like Islam Makhachev's fight with Ally Quinto, if you remember that. I know it was for the title, but It was really hard. It was a really hard fight for him, and obviously, Al didn't deserve the title shot. But in my humble opinion, I don't feel like people respected Khabib as a champ until he beat Conor. That's how I feel. I honestly felt like from the reactions I got from the Al Quinta fight, it felt like people were like, nah, he's not the real champ. Conor's still the champ. Conor never, lost his belt to him. So until he did that, he got his respect. So kind of like Islam's in a no-win situation because he beats Bobby. I mean, he doesn't really get a lot of respect. And if he loses to Bobby, on the I'm sorry, y'all. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. But Bobby Green, I looked at some fights, man, and I felt like two fights really, really pointed out to me: the Thiago Moises fight and the Al Quinta fight. Let's talk about Thiago Moises fight. I thought it was a very, very close fight. I actually thought he won, and when I rewatched it, I thought he won even more actually. But Thiago was able to take him down. Now, he was able to take Thiago down himself, but Thiago was able to take him down and get really good submission spots in that fight and do a lot of good things in there. He actually even hurt him with the elbow and actually kind of cut him up a little bit, which was really, really interesting. But it just looked like anytime Thiago went for takedowns, he got him. And that's something that Bobby can't afford to do with Islam. It's just one of those things. You can't do that. Now Bobby landed great shots. He has really good boxing. He has an unorthodox style. Obviously keeps his hands low, but he's not Floyd Mayweather, and he can be beat and he can be touched, and he's been knocked out before, right? But obviously that's not I don't think Islam's gonna knock him out. If he does hurt him with his hands, it's probably gonna be ground and pound, right? So that's the thing with Green, even though he lost this fight and even though we think he won, he still was taken down. He still had multiple submission attempts on him. He did get out of some of them. He's able to get back up in reverse situations. Like I have that here, but still, the fact remains that Thiago, a guy that, he did take down Islam. I give him that. I will give Thiago that. But a guy that was submitted by Islam was able to have some advantages in the grappling over Bobby, and that's something that's very alarming. Now, against Al Quinta, Bobby looked sensational here. He looked amazing here. Obviously, he knocked him out. I felt like going into there, I picked Al. Al, first of all, let's say a few things. Al looked like in the best shape of his life. Al gave his mentor, right, Khabib Nurmagomedov, the hardest title fight of his life, and whooped on Kevin Lee after that, and was considered, in my humble opinion, either top 5 or top 7 after getting kicked out of the rankings. I think so. He was in that kind of area. Al was a very, very legit guy in that division, and Bobby Green made light work of him. Now, Al has went over, has talked about it and retired since then and talked about how he quit. I don't want to take anything away from Green because Al said that. I'm going to give Green his credit. He landed a beautiful shot and he knocked him out. Al is a decent wrestler, and he's shown an ability to be problems for these kind of opponents. But Al isn't the caliber of grappler that Islam is. Even in my humble opinion, Al plays anti-wrestler too much, and it's affected, in my humble opinion, his offensive wrestling. But in this fight, I felt like Al was coming in with that mentality to wrestle. I feel like that was kind of like the method of victory for Al Quinta, and Bobby was able to stop it with his 1-2. This was probably one of the first fights I've ever really seen him show power, and he's able to knock Al out, who's always been known for his chin. So that was a really, really good, impressive victory. And then his last fight, I mean, he put on a fucking spectacle. He outboxed a guy I thought that would beat him too, Nasser Haskarov. I've always thought Nasser had decent hands. I've always thought he had really good hands, actually. But now I think he has decent hands because of what Bobby did. Bobby put on a clinic. The straight shots, the 1-2-1. That was beautiful. I mean, 1 to the head, jab to the body, and then a 2. He was just putting on a clinic. Nasser couldn't touch him. He was hitting air. And he just proceeded to do that for the whole 3 rounds. He just put on a clinic, and he was just jabbing his face up, landing the right cross, and then jabbing again. He didn't even add no hooks or upper. I mean, he added a few uppercuts and some body shots, but really he just was. His straight shots were on fire, and he looked really, really good. So yeah, it is what it is. At the end of the day, he's He beat Nasrat, and it proved me wrong. But now he's found himself in a real good situation. And in that presser, in the post-fight press, he was talking about being a gangster, and I kind of was not surprised when he took the fight, because I just see he kept talking about being a gangster, being about that life, right? About just taking these kind of fights. And he a BMF for this. I give him that. He is a BMF, and I have a lot of respect for Bobby Green, and the fact that he took this fight. And I think Bobby, he can ask some questions. I don't think he can ask some top 5 questions, but he can ask some questions on to see how good is Islam in certain areas, in the boxing, in the wrestling. Bobby has decent takedown defense. He really does. He actually really has decent takedown defense. He's a pretty good wrestler. I don't know how well Bobby will do against Islam in the championship rounds, but I actually think I think we're actually going to see some of this fight on the feet. And I think this is where Bobby can exploit the fight. So if I'm on Bobby Green's side, and if I give him a method of victory to win this fight, so here's what I look at. Bobby has really good jabs. He has really good straight shots. Don't throw any hooks, no overhands. It's not worth it. You throw overhand, you overextend yourself. Oh, he's under your legs, or he's over, getting a, underhook or something. Like, he's just going for it, right? It's an easy grappling transition. So straight shots. Here's a problem. Like, Bobby puts his back on the fence, so he's gonna have to do a real good job of maintaining the center and circling around the octagon. So that's really hard, right? You basically have to play with that space where you just literally can't have your back against the cage, because then it's it's easy clinch fest. It's easy, a lot of things, right? That can happen if you put your back against the fucking fence, right? So he has to avoid that. Obviously, add some knees, some teeps to the body. Anything down the middle is going to be really hard to catch. No leg kicks, no nothing. Even high kicks, don't even throw. He'll catch it. He'll run him right over. We saw it with Robert Whitaker when he fought fucking Adesanya in the second fight. He was able to get some takedowns off of roundhouse kicks and high kicks. So really, it's straight shots down the middle. And look at really countering. Islam actually has decent boxing. I think he doesn't get enough credit for that. He actually has decent hands. I actually like his straight shots that he throws, but they're very, very slow, respectfully. They're very slow, and that's how he got caught against Adrian Martinez, was that he threw a really slow punch. And I thought he looked a lot worse back then. I think now he looks a lot better. I would say the thing about Islam is that even though he's slow, he always keeps that same slow pace throughout the rounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's able to strike like that for 5 rounds, right? So there is some positives to striking like the way he strikes. I mean, he throws a really crisp technical 1-2, but it's not as fast as Green's, right? So no, I'm not saying he's bad, but I'm just saying it's not as good as some of the other strikers. But he's great at other things that they're not great at. So like I said, for Green, don't keep your back against the fence. Maintain the center, but at the same time, don't go too forward where you're putting too much pressure. Just circle. There's a difference between being on the fence and circling the octagon. You'll see it. Like, there's a difference, right? Like what Corey Sandhagen did to Peter Yan in that first round. His back was in against the fence. In the later rounds, that's when Peter started putting that good pressure on him, his back started hitting the fence, right? That's what Green has to maintain. Obviously dipping his head out of the center line, throwing that, fucking counter cross a lot. But it has to be straight. Nothing, like, no overhands. Just boom. He has to move his head out the way. We've seen it, we've seen him get caught with that. Maybe throw a few uppercuts, something like that, where anything, he's gonna scare Islam for going for takedowns and stuff like that. And apply your wrestling. You have good takedown defense. Always get back up and put a pace on him. And also, it's they're fighting, I think, at 160 too. So I mean, he has that advantage as well. It's at a pretty comfortable weight class for him. But Bobby's not gonna do any of that. I'm gonna add this clip in. Bobby got fucking thrown over his head by Clay Guida. I know he beat Clay, but I implore people to actually rewatch that fight. Clay Guida had a really, really good fight in there against Bobby. I didn't fully watch it, but I do remember watching, and I seen this clip on Twitter, so I'm going to show you this. He literally had this man up in the air with a single leg. no disrespect, but how old is Clay Guida when he fought him? I think Clay's in his 40s. Yeah, he's 40 years old. So I think when he fought him, he could have been 39 or 38. So I'll give Bobby that. But Clay's way past his prime. He's a good vet, and he knows how to win fights, so I respect him there. He's a good fighter. Don't get it twisted. Clay can win. Hey, gotta put some respect on Clay Guida's name. But the facts are the facts. You can't be letting 39 or 38-year-old men that are obviously not in their prime anymore pick you up like that. And that's what happened, y'all. He got picked up over his head. If Clay can do that, imagine what a 30-year-old Islam Makhachev who's in his prime. I think Islam is going to have some trouble with Bobby because, in my humble opinion, I've been talking about this, the short notice power boost. I believe in that. I think you get a boost in power when you fight short notice. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. You can call me fucking crazy, but I think he has a short notice. There is a short notice power boost, right? I truly believe it's going to be a little hard for Islam because he hasn't prepared for Bobby. Bobby has a weird style, and he's a decent wrestler. I think I got to go with Islam by 4th round submission. I think Islam will keep his hands up, will keep that high guard, and just, put pressure, tap the legs a little bit, feint, and then initially go for his first takedown, maybe in the second or I would say, no, I say he takes him down in the first round, but at the end of the first round, and then I think he'll figure his rhythm out and figure out what Bobby's trying to do with his striking and kind of get those takedowns. And the takedowns will be easier and easier, and obviously will be a very slow and decisive victory to a 4th round submission. I think he's just going to break him down, and just eventually Bobby's going to just wilt under that pressure. And Makhachev is going to get a 4th round submission. I would say rear naked choke, probably in the 4th. I'm going to say that. I feel like that's something Bobby's going to get caught. I think Bobby's going to try to get up and give his back. But yeah, I gotta go with Islam Makhachev. I don't think Islam's the next Khabib. I think he would have lost to Beneil Dariush. I'm just going to be honest. I was ready to make that video. I was ready to be like, in Beneil we trust, in Beneil and inshallah or alhamdulillah. But I can't say that to my to my Islam fans. And inshallah, Islam will win. Alhamdulillah, Islam will win. I'm not Muslim, but I know a lot of people think I'm Muslim, but I'm actually not. So I'm just joking around. Don't kill me. But it is what it is. Bobby ain't winning this, but respect to Bobby for taking the fight. Islam's probably gonna choke him out and get a title shot off this. It's somewhat underwhelming, but it's interesting. It's a really interesting fight. I kind of want to see what's going to happen because it's short notice and because everyone wants to think Bobby Green's the next fucking Floyd Mayweather of MMA. So it is kind of interesting. I will be streaming. I thought about not streaming, but I was like, fuck it. I'll stream for 2 straight weeks. This one, and then I'll stream for Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. I can't fucking wait. And yeah, it is what it is. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Love y'all, and goodbye.
Way better for you than Bobby Green. Trust me on that.
Bobby Green is going to get fucking murdered. If you don't know, now you know. And everybody's pretending they are going to put real money on Bobby Green. This is the best thing ever. Like, I don't know what people are thinking. Like, Makhachev is going to take him down and like sexually assault him. But like, I don't know. Maybe people think he's Frank Chamizo and he's going to stuff Makhachev and box his face off or something, but